about how to close super high ticket deals with 12-minute sales calls. And the best part is you have zero, nada objections. How is this possible? You might be thinking, right? And we've all been there, we've all experienced it. People who come onto the calls and say, hey, I need to think about it. This is too damn expensive, or I need to talk to X, Y, and Z person before I make this decision, right? And I'm here to tell you today that if you've been dealing with these things, then it is not your fault. Objections are not your fault. You're just selling backwards. Backwards? What do you mean? I'm about to explain to you that. So this is basically the process of most coaches that they use to actually conduct their sales calls. Right? They get in front of not so warm leads, and then they pitch them, and then they get objections, and then they try to offer discounts to mitigate those objections, and then they regret making the discount because they traded off something they weren't willing to, and so they are not going to get results. And so it's just a bad overall cycle that creates worse and worse outcomes. Okay, after they regret that, maybe they fire that client, and then they come back to getting in front of a not so warm lead, right? This is what I like to call, if no one else calls it, the death spiral of sales. Okay. And today I want to show you how you can close 15-minute deals, high ticket deals, without going through objection hoops. That's my promise today. But first, you need to understand why objections happen in the first place. Okay. And objections happen because you are selling to almost strangers. Okay. Just because you talk to some people beforehand in the DMs, or maybe they follow you, or stuff like that, doesn't mean they know everything about you. Okay. And most people, broadly speaking, need three questions that need to be answered for them in their brains before they actually make a decision to work with you or to even show up to your call, right? So they don't know why they need you, okay? Why they need you in specific, and why not your competitor, okay? That question is always running in their brains. You're trying to answer that by every content you put out, by every CTA, by every story you put out. They're trying to answer that question. And when you don't give them the answer to that question, then it's just blank in their brains. And then they're going to move on to the next one, right? So you're losing a lot of attention when you don't answer this question. They don't know why they need you in specific. And so you have to put out things that make you special, or things that differentiate you from every other person, so that this answer gets into their brain as fast as possible. Second reason is that they don't know if your process works, right? So you might say, hey, this process worked for X, Y, and Z person. This worked for me. This worked for my clients, blah, blah, blah. But the next prospect that you're going to engage with, transact with, needs to understand, or needs to believe, that the process works for him. Okay. And this time in 2025, prospects have gotten skeptical to the point where even case studies are not that much effective as they used to be, because they've seen people with testimonials and not getting results after they actually buy into that program. And so they're asking, hey, yeah, I've seen all these testimonials, but would it actually work for me? Right? So you need to, communicate that fact, the mechanism or your process is definitely going to work for them. So if you qualify them properly and you tell them, yep, this process, this mechanism is going to work for you, yes, there's no reason why this wouldn't work for you. Okay. Third reason is they do not know if they can do it. And this is the most important question you need to answer for them, or you need them to answer to themselves. Because if you have all the two things that I just mentioned, and they just don't believe in themselves, or they just don't believe that they can do it, then no kind of offer, no kind of discount is gonna make them do it, because this is like the pillar. I know I put it on number three, but I'm just trying to like hit it home, as an ending point. Okay, so what can you actually do in answering these questions through your sales process? Right? What are the next action steps that you can follow to make sure these questions are answered as fast as possible right now? Okay, because I want you to take action on this as soon as as soon as you actually hop off this video. So the objection proof sales system, that's what I'm going to be um, outlining here today. So it consists of two primary steps, uh, broadly categorized. The number one thing you need to do is, like we said, educate before the call, because sales calls are decision making calls and not education calls. Okay, and so what are you going to educate on? The things that I just said. Okay, the how to, you're going to create how to contents that clarify the mechanism for them. Okay, where you clarify the knowledge and effort map. Okay, and the reason I actually put this here is because a lot of people lack either effort or knowledge to get to their transformational outcome. Okay, and if you can clarify the exact effort that is required and the exact knowledge gap that is you know that is required to fill, then people can see the map. Okay, the map that they can follow to actually get to the results ASAP. Then that is when they start to believe in the process, in the mechanism. That is why you need to leverage step by step content, DIY solutions, right? So that they can see, okay, yep, this thing actually makes sense. The math makes sense, right? Second thing is how I type of content, where you showcase the authority that you have, okay? Things like accolades, these humble brags, how I did X, Y, and Z, how I achieved X, Y, and Z, right? So this positions you as a person who knows what they're talking about. I think this one's pretty clear. Third one, the most powerful by far, especially if it's targeted to the right person. Okay, so this one's the case study education. So this one is going to make people believe that they can do it, and it's very powerful if it's directed to the right avatar. The right case study is directed to the right avatar. It's just going to make you a lot of money. Okay, so but in the way that you create that testimonial, there should be a structure to it. You need to highlight three specific struggles that avatar struggled to, and you need to present that to the same prospect that's struggling with the same things, right? Because the psychological hack here is you need them to self-identify at the before situation and crave the after situation, if that makes sense. So once you actually do this, then you've done like 50+% of the work on educating people, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time handling objections in sales calls. Second thing you need to do is qualify. And the reason why this is important is because you might actually implement these things within your sales process, but it doesn't mean 100% of your leads are going to go through this process, right? Some people are going to be lazy and not watch your content. Some people are going to be, straight up not qualified. So that is why you need to rid these people before they actually come onto your call. So you need to ask these three important questions before booking a call. First thing is, hey, what is the number one thing holding you back right now? Right? This one tells you how much educated that these people are in terms of the mechanism and where in that point they are stuck, because that is very important. A person who is aware of their problems is more likely to solve them, right? So you filter out vague people because it just tells you that they have not understood the process. They have not, you know, become more and more self-aware to actually make a decision to actually change. So those people are going to be highly likely to give you mechanism objections, right? Second thing you need to ask them is, hey, what is the cost of not fixing this in 6 months? Some people like to ask this question, hey, if this was a fit, are you going to take action in the coming 7 days? But that sounds too pushy, so I like to use, what is the cost of not fixing this in 6 months? And because that could be a little bit too personal and a little bit too relatable to them, then we can get a better and better answer all the time. So this qualifies people who are in in urgency, which is very important to make decisions, right? Because we don't want people who are not in urgency to take 30, 45, 1 hour meetings and calls with us, right? So this also is going to give you that position there, right? The third thing is, of course, what is your budget? Because As it's the basic important question that we need. So you need to auto decline answers under that price point. So you can see from this process that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like make people who come to the call as educated as possible, and I put a filter at the end of the sales process to make sure people are educated, and the people who are not educated, within these three pillars, then I'm going to kick them back because they need to be educated to see the calendar, if that makes sense. So that guarantees that people who come to your calendar are just quick closes, right? So if you want the objection proof sales system, which includes pre-call video scripts, the type form quiz template that I just outlined here, the 100 most common objection script library, DM me on Instagram at Beam Scales, and I will definitely share that with you. And the best part about this process, like I said, is this system eliminates objections because these skeptics or people who are not educated enough do not even make it to your calendar. That's the best part. You don't have to cancel calls, you know, because they're unqualified. They just don't even see the calendar, which is awesome, right? Yeah. So I hope this was helpful for you. If this was valuable, leave me a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.